Hello everyone and welcome back to Cryptozoology A to Z. My throat is a bit croaky at the moment because I'm just dealing with tonsillitis, but this is one of the only times I've got to record, so I do apologise if I sound very quiet or very croaky. But as we're doing the A to Z, we're on the E category now, and we're going to talk about Ennedi tigers. So, unlike where the previous ones, I sort of start telling the story of the encounter, this one um, uh, I'll just get into it and then, because I've written it in there anyway, my explanation. So, yeah. So, larger than a lion with reddish fur and often vertical white stripes, all are said to have long teeth protruding beyond their lips and short tails or no tail at all. That's from the Cryptid Wiki. So several years ago on DeviantArt, I was looking at cryptids in Africa for some terrible Lion King fan fiction I do. Yes, I'm that sad, but indulging my childish wonder can be good for me. But anyway, doing that, I ran across the Ennedi tiger, and so I had written up a very interesting take on it from what I had been reading at the time, and there's not been much in the way of change on these stories, so I thought to read you what I wrote because it's not too bad from 4 years ago. And well, as you can see, I'll be using the same base I drew for my Ennedi Tiger characters that you can see. Yes, the descriptions do make it sound like a Pleistocene era cat, but that's probably why the Ennedi Tiger is so fascinating and why it's referred to as a tiger along with the stripes. So, what is the Ennedi Tiger? So, firstly, it's a cryptid animal, which is to say that it is hidden, a species reported but never really seen or researched scientifically, and whose existence can be called into question, just like the Sasquatch and Chupacabra. Around the Ennedi Plateau, located in northeastern Chad, where there are ancient paintings of livestock on the rock wall, and it is an area used mainly for pasture, there is said to be a cryptid species of big cat. This area housed some of the last of the West African lions until the 1940s when they were extinct, and may be where the last of the wild scimitar-horned oryx and Sudan cheetah may be found. But there have been reports of this bigger cat. Varying tribes report that it is a large cat, larger than a lion, with distinctive reddish-brown fur and vertical white stripes with short bobtails or no tails at all, but the most striking feature are the protruding canines from the jaw. They are described as having eyeshine, and those titled Hagel, one of the various local names, are said to be maned. The Yulu tribe have said there are melanistic or black varieties, and many state these animals are nocturnal and strong enough to carry huge prey, some even claiming on their backs. The Hadjere stories though state the animal is harmless to people as long as it is not disturbed, but its teeth are so large that they cause it pain to open its mouth, with some tribes also claiming they are followed by a cloud of butterflies. They are reported only around the mountainous regions, and specifically around the Ennedi Plateau, and this, along with the stripes that was distinct along with the teeth, gave them the name. They are not necessarily described as being full-on saber-tooth, i.e. Smilodon, but when big game hunter Christian Lenel showed drawings of Smilodon and other big cats to the natives in 1969, they picked out the Smilodon, much like the tribes in the Congo being shown images of sauropods and identifying the Mukele and Bembe. My spelling is awful on this one. The sightings outside of tribal accounts have been less circumstantial, with mentions of hearing strange sounds like roaring of a tiger coming from a cave, carrying off a horse or antelope, but there have been no other real accounts of these animals. What could it be? Now, with lots of people, the sudden description, striped and large teeth, and the identification of a Smilodon image would make you jump to the suggestion it is the possible last remaining saber-toothed cat around. Now, many people might quickly shake this off and insist this is not the case. How could it be the case? And scientists will likely tell you the same, as well as to remind you that our modern-day big cats and the saber-tooth lot separated so long ago that there is no way modern cats could ever somehow develop it to be a saber-tooth either. But just because the idea of either such thing being alive today or even in the 40s is odd, it may not actually be a wrong assumption for the time. Now, the Ennedi Plateau is sort of locked into what the Saharan regions looked like 11,000 years ago, and it is often believed that the last descendants of the saber-toothed cat branch died out around this time, when man was making their way through all the megafauna around, although it's debated if these cats were already gone from Africa at this time. There is little way to tell what the fur colouring of the saber-tooth family looked like. Unlike cave lions and mammoths, we've not managed to locate any frozen specimens with flesh and fur. Oh, just an edit, because apparently they recently have found something similar to Homotherium. I'm not too sure. I'd have to look up on that. One of the other people I watch on YouTube who talks about prehistoric ones, she mentioned it recently, and it was like the image shown was very similar to like lion coloured fur. But back to the thing. Most of our evidence comes only from bones, so we can't discuss whether they were striped or indeed if red was their fur colour. But the description varying between elongated teeth so that it hurts its mouth to large probing out canines can match two species of the saber-tooth that we know were found in Africa. These are Homotherium, sociable, most likely a daylight hunter due to studies on the eyes, and Megantarian, smaller than lions and non-sociable but still powerful. There are also the false sabres, or the Metalaurus, which Dinofelis was a member of, all of which have had fossils found throughout Africa. With this being assumed to have been living around 11,000 years ago. But we're quite sure too that humans interacted with some of these species, and that's where my theory of this being comes into play. That is a matter of oral history and rock wall art. Although we have no rock wall images that look to describe this being, though the areas on the Ennedi Plateau still haven't been researched properly, we know for a fact that lions have been painted and cats similar. But what has probably existed as long as spoken word itself is oral storytelling traditions. We know from other indigenous peoples around the world that the oral stories can reach back to times when there are other beings around and the fauna was far more abundant. It is more than likely that in the past the tribes encountered and lived beside these beings, probably even noting them being different and dying out as prey lessened or became more specialized for speed and the desert closed in around the regions. The distinct look and its disappearance probably encouraged stories to be passed on about this animal in its unique appearance, developing into mysterious stories and folklore like many other creatures. In this respect, the thought that the Ennedi tiger is indeed a saber-toothed cat, but not an alive one now, makes sense. So what I originally wrote, and I'm still so that's what I originally wrote, and I'm still very much of the opinion that the creature known as the Ennedi tiger is not actually a living animal, but a past animal that has been discussed. I think I actually covered everything with that, and I hope it was interesting to you. I am quite enamored with the idea of this beast, and there's thought to be something similar in the Congo, long-toothed cat, but that one lives in water and sounded more like a walrus when I read up about it. Certainly an interesting thought, but I hope you found that interesting. Thank you very much for listening.